Going live. Welcome back to the Scare Guy Show, everybody. Coming to you straight from the spooky heart of Hollywood, California, the capital of weirdness, horror, and anything and everything bizarre. That's why the four of us are here tonight, and one of us will be here. Luke will be joining us in a second, but we're your source for all things scary fun, and this week that includes our experiences at the Hollywood version of Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. We have all gone through it. It was great. The final trailer for Halloween Kills just dropped today, so we will talk about that, of course. And, of course, we're going to talk about your chance to attend the coolest Halloween and LA Comic-Con party of the year if you happen to be here in the Hollywood area. So, anyways, my name is Jim Fry. I guess I'm your lead horror host tonight. We'll start up here in the box. Right next to me, who do we have?
Hey everybody, it's Katie, aka Katie Christine here. Since it's the Scare Guy, you guys know me as the final girl of the Scare Guy because the other girls don't tend to hang out with us as much on this side of things. But I am also 2/3 of the Con Girls, which is our sister site to the Con Guy, where we talk about all things from a all female perspective, or at least mostly female perspective. And I'm, as you can see, already in Halloween spirit. I've got all my decorations up, so I'm excited to talk about Halloween Horror Nights.
Katie's always ready to talk about Halloween Horror Nights. All right, and underneath me, a very good friend of mine, this is Natalie, and I always butcher her last name, and I've known her for like 5 or 6 years. It's Michelle.
I think it's actually like 10 years, maybe. We've known each other for a very long time. It's Natalie Michelle. So, yes. But I mean, you could say it any way that you want. People have their own takes on it. It's fine. And you can Italian it up a little bit more.
I just remember the very first time I met Natalie. It was the funniest thing. It was at her parents' house, and her parents were having a really fun 4th of July party that may be offensive to half the audience, but it was a white trash down home 4th of July.
Yes,
so, good times.
We just really leaned into that, and it was quite a lot of fun.
It was great. It was so much fun. And Natalie also, she is a producer. She produced a very cool horror movie called Fear Inc. If you guys can check that. Is it still available on Amazon, Natalie?
Not on Amazon, but you can get it on iTunes. So yeah. Awesome. So it's always a good repeat for Halloween.
It's a good Halloween movie. That is
it's great.
It is good Halloween. All right. And of course, our special guest tonight, the Geek Gatsby himself, Mr. Bernie Bregman.
What's going on, guys? It's been a long ass time, but it is good to be back with you.
Bernie, I don't think I've talked to you it must be like almost the 18 months of the pandemic.
You know what? I fell victim the same way a lot of people did to my couch, and it's quite well worn. I'm staring at a cushion that has a very me-sized dent in it, it was like, well, shit. I do events. There's no events, so. Binge suggestions, anyone?
But there is a cool event coming up. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. But first of all, so Bernie, how does it feel because you're very ingrained, especially in the LA region, big events that have to do with pop culture and stuff. How are we doing? Are we gradually easing back into it? When do you think we're going to see the light of day?
I still think we're not going to see the light of day till the end of the year. Like, we're doing our event and we're selling to half capacity for comfort and safety. Same thing that Labyrinth of Jareth did. And they sold out to their half capacity. So that was super encouraging, but also a very, loyal for years fan base that they've got going on. And a lot of protocols were put in place. They did a great job. And so, we want to re-engage with everyone. There's definitely this mixed sense of there's a lot of people that want to get back at it that are like, look, I'm vaccinated, I'm safe. Let's just return to normal. I have no more patience for any of this stuff. But then there's also people that are still scared and have every right to those emotions, or might be in situations where they can't get vaccinated, or they're at higher risk, or they care for somebody of higher risk, all those things. So we're definitely not out of the woods yet, but there is some light at the end of the tunnel. I'm actually really hopeful that Los Angeles Comic-Con full-fledged in December is going to be like our first West Coast reintroduction to normal life. And hopefully we're planning an after party for that. There's some things in the works there as well. But God, I want to be at a con, guys. I'm seeing pictures and video from other parts of the country, and I get it. Like, no one wants to be Florida or anything, but like, I miss my peeps. I'm vaccinated. I want to hang out. So that's where I'm at personally. I feel like the marketplace is like, there's definitely some people that want to get out and do it, like, and are ready to go hard. And we want to be there for those people. And, no one that's doing events is planning on like making lots of money at them right now. It's just, we'd like to see our people again. We'd like to see our friends. We'd like to feel normal. It's been 18 months. I'm not being insensitive to any of the things that are going on, but that's a long time to be cooped up in your house.
Yeah. And I don't think it's insensitive to say, we are ready to return to normal. I don't think anyone on this podcast here is like a, person that's going to be. Anyways,
I am so offended.
I know. That's what I was going to say. Bernie, I do appreciate what you said, because I do have a friend. He had an arrhythmia in his lungs, and he is unable to take the vaccine right now.
Right.
And so he's trying to find a way to, stay safe. And then I'm meeting a friend in 2 weeks he's had 2 heart attacks and open heart surgery, fully vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated, but I'm still kind of like, I just want to make sure that I'm not the reason that you get sick. So,
because
there's a lot of things to consider. And I think that, God, it's, I just think that everyone should make the smartest decision for them. Yep. Right. And for those that feel safe, that aren't around people that are at risk, that are vaccinated, y'all should come out and party hard with us. And those that don't have that luxury should be smart and safe. And that's kind of all there is to it. We're actually adopting the October 7th LA County rules early.
Wait. You say we. They don't know what you're talking about yet. They don't. So we are talking about this. In 2 weekends, Halloween Rising, a Stranger Experience, which Bernie is producing. Bernie, tell us about this.
So this is going to be like, it's your first Halloween experience in years, unless you did the drive-through stuff, but like the first kind of in-person Halloween experience since the pandemic happened in Los Angeles. It's going to be a giant costume party, definitely at Comic-Con, kind of a vibe to it, but really Comic-Con is open to all those things. Horror costumes are big. Stranger Things is huge. We're going to give an upside down makeover to many fandoms that a lot of people love. So Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Candyman, Beetlejuice. We'll have some kind of photo ops there. We'll have the 25-foot Baby Yoda. This isn't it. This is my Baby Yoda from Sean Rick. There will be a 25-foot Baby Yoda free photo op there. We'll have an Ecto-1 parked outside, all the lights blaring and everything. The flux capacitors are playing. I'm so excited to see them back on a stage.
I love them guys. That makes me so happy.
They're incredible. DJ Elliott, who is Lucasfilm's official DJ, is coming all the way out from Florida. He's going to be spinning all night. We've also got a new emo band for you folks that love Panic at My Chemical Fallout Boy. 30 Fallouts to Romance will be performing before Flux Capacitors. So a new groove for some of those folks, bridging some genres there. And it's just going to be a lot of spooky fun for everybody. It's a 1,200 person venue that we're selling to half capacity. There's also a big outdoor patio. So there's lots of space to not feel cramped. We're not, packing it ass to elbow, as they say in the club scene. It's just going to be comfortable and fun. If we have 300-400 people out there rocking out, having a good time, we'll feel like it was a huge success. So by the way, Scare Guy Jim, I want to give you guys 20 passes to just give away as you see fit, whether it's people that have had a tough time in the pandemic and can't afford to, and you can, kind of figure those folks out, or just 20 friends, whatever. But 20 tickets you guys can give away, the con guy can give away for this experience next weekend.
We'll have some cool contests this week and give those out. Yeah. That will be fantastic. Yeah, we'll get some people there. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
20 pairs, I should say. You can give 20 pairs away. So just get me full names and email addresses, and I will send them all tickets as they as they come along. And then I was talking earlier about the safety stuff. So most people know that on October 7th, new safety rules are going into effect in Los Angeles, where most restaurants and bars and performance venues and things like that are requiring that you have at least 1 dose of the vaccine. Then there's a later date in November where you need to have the 2nd dose by then, or a negative test within 72 hours in order to enter. So our show is on the 2nd. It's just 5 days early. We're just going to be smart about it, adopt those safety rules to make everybody comfortable and feel confident that they're in a safe environment. And so we're going to be full-fledged with that stuff. So make sure that you have a scan of your Vax card or a copy of your negative test. You don't have to have your actual Vax card. I don't want anyone to lose that very precious piece of paper that was stupidly not designed to fit in our wallets, unlike literally everything else. I don't know what idiot made that decision. But in any case, a scan is fine. It's got your name on it. It's official. We'll check it by your ID. It's all good.
Yeah, and if you log into the California database, if you're here in California, it just pops it right up there for you. So it's real simple. As long as you've got your vaccination, just log on in, put your information in there, and it provides it to you. I am traveling this next week, so I needed to have mine with me, and so it was good to know that it was there. Hey,
I got one of the Lulu Dallas multi-pass things, and it's a pouch for the Vax card. It's great.
So
it's gonna be like the new con badge. Like I have my badge, but now there's gonna be like a lanyard.
On the backside. Oh, you put it on the backside of the sleeve, right? It's like boom, boom. I'm good.
Here you go.
So, Bernie, did you say there's a costume contest?
There's going to be a costume contest. Absolutely. Look, all of us have closets full of costumes, and some of us can't fit in them anymore because of that quarantine 20. But hey, I'm in that boat. I can fit in like my Mugatu gown, and that's kind of it.
That's a good one though. That's a good one though. So
but we've all got those costumes. We want to break them out, so we definitely want to encourage that. Wear whatever you want. You have to wear a mask except when you're drinking. But there's lots of ways to get creative with that. Look, Jason and Michael Myers, you guys, you're good. You got the mask.
I know. We're going to talk about that in just a second at Halloween Horror Nights. And Natalie was the one that was bringing it up. It's like, everyone's wearing a mask anyway, so it's great. It was kind of like a cool experience over there. But for those of you who don't know, hey, Bernie is pretty good. Bernie's pretty good. Bernie has thrown some kick-ass parties that I have had the chance to go to, like especially. Yeah, we went down to the parties at San Diego Comic-Con were off the hook. I tell you what, those things. That I miss Comic-Con, but man, I miss the Bernie parties at Comic-Con. I just got to tell you,
we're thinking about doing that little November thing that they're doing because there really won't be anyone else doing it. So we're chit-chatting with our venue down there. We kind of want to see how this thing goes in 2 weeks before we make that call. It's not that we wouldn't be like we had all these cool themes for con that wasn't right for 2020. All right, I don't want to spoil them yet because we could still do them, but there's a film that's going to revive a franchise that's very beloved from the 80s that's supposed to hit here real soon. We were going to do something totally themed out to that. It's going to be a ball.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think
a lot of this shade of color involved.
Yeah. I was going to do a green wall behind me in honor of it.
Yes. We had all these. We were going to actually put the Baby Yoda on the roof. 25-foot Baby Yoda on top of the freaking nightclub, which was going to be amazing. Anyway, so we had all this cool stuff. So we do want to pocket that and bring it back, and but we're not gonna do all the new for that event just because it would be so unknown, right? Cautiously optimistic, I like to say. But the stuff that we have, we would truck it down and do our thing. So we'll kind of make that call in the next couple of weeks, just see how this thing goes on 10/2 and how we feel about it. And, if all goes well and everyone's excited and we might be down there for San Diego, but we are building for LA Comic-Con in December.
Awesome. I know that I'm going to be if they are having it, I know that tomorrow is registration for San Diego Comic-Con for some of us. And I've already got my hotel paid for I accidentally thought I was giving a deposit, but I paid the whole thing. So I guess I'm going whether there's a Comic-Con or not now.
San Diego is lovely, Jim.
I mean, there's so
many things to enjoy.
I love San Diego. I think it'll be more open and safe.
Probably one of those things, but there's plenty of other things to enjoy in San Diego.
Yeah. It was so cool.
Give them a little bit right there.
Last time I went to last year when Comic-Con was canceled, I know that we went and there was nobody there, but so Luke was with me and we I was walking down to the convention center. Tony Kim was down there with a couple of friends. And as I'm walking across the train tracks, there's Rob Liefeld just walking there, just hanging out, just kind of like soaking in. I'm like, are you kidding me? It was the only chance I ever had to meet him. And that was very, very cool. Okay. So, Bernie, anything else that people should know? How do they get tickets to this?
So all you got to do is look up Halloween Rising on Eventbrite. We've been posting it from the Experience Level Entertainment and Nerds Like Us and Nerdbot Facebooks. LA Comic-Con has shared it in emails and social media posts. So it's out there. Just look for Halloween Rising on Eventbrite or on Facebook, and you'll find the event. And under 2 weeks to go. So it's super exciting to be kind of dipping our toes back in the waters. And God, I'm just thinking about being on a stage with a microphone again and how electrifying that is. It's just like, yeah.
Also, if you guys want to just check out, go to theconguy.com or thescareguy.com. We will have the links to tickets over there as well. I'm going to put it here in the show notes in just a second. You guys should, Bernie throws awesome parties.
Yeah.
You guys should definitely go. Katie, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I've been to two of the Comic-Con parties. The last one was the last one that we didn't know was going to be the last one for a little bit of time, but was in 2019. And I had so much fun. I can't tell you I remember all of it, but that's
a good party,
right? Especially if you are a nerd and you think that nerds don't know how to party. I can assure you that is not true. So
at Bernie's party is where Jared Padalecki said happy birthday to Katie.
He did. The first party of 2019 Comic-Con when I was sleeping to prepare for the entire busy weekend. And that's when they got me my lovely shout out video from Jared. Thankfully, the next night I did actually meet Jared at Bernie's party. So, we
got Jared twice. Did I ever tell you guys the little after the party story with Jared? We had a little trouble with an intoxicated guy in the gas lamp area of San Diego because that's what happens there.
That's kind of what happens there.
And he was hassling some girls, and I get in between him and the girls and start talking to him, and all of a sudden I just feel behind me pressure and ready, and I turn around and it's Moose right behind me, and his hand, he's just so long, right? And his hand is shooting out from behind me at this guy, you need to walk away now. Just so cool.
I'm gonna tell you, because we were able
to girls, I would be
we were able to hang with him for a couple nights. And for those because I've heard some nasty stuff that people like to be nasty, but Jared says this. Jared's a good guy. He's a nice guy. And I couldn't have had a better time hanging out with him. And he was so respectful to everybody.
He's great. He's absolutely great.
Bernie, I can't wait to your party. It's going to be so fantastic, guys. So we will be having some games and some contests this week. So we hope to see you up there at Bernie's party. Hey, and I want to say a shout out to a couple of people watching right now. Nathan and Rita, good to see you. My friend Justin Clark. Hopefully Hawaii is still up in the air with AnyCon. Hawaii's kind of sort of discouraging people to travel there right now.
Yeah.
Yep. So and nice, yeah. Which is a shame since I am scheduled a couple of months ago. I booked tickets to Hawaii when things looked a little bit nicer, and that trip is coming up in 4 weeks. We'll see what happens.
It was so nice. We were out and about, and it was all good for 3 weeks.
Oh, so he's talking about the Amazing Con. Oh, the Hawaii Amazing Con. Yeah, I'm not so sure.
When we're able to, we definitely should go to a Comic-Con in Hawaii. I think I'd be okay with that.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. Natalie, I'm going to pull you into the conversation here because you and I were talking about something, and this is our next thing. A trailer dropped just this week for Halloween Kills. And this is a terrible picture that I just pulled up of.
That is a very terrible picture.
You can kind of tell that it's Michael Myers.
That's embarrassing. Let me see if I can find a better picture. But you and I were talking, and before we break down the trailer, based on what we have already seen, because Natalie, by the way, Natalie, if you guys haven't had a chance, you should check out the Martini Scale podcast that she does with a couple of her friends, and they have done a lot of cool horror movies. And it's the cool thing about Natalie's podcast, their rating scale. Describe your rating scale, how you rate a movie.
So the entire idea of the podcast is to do a reverse star system. So how drunk do you need to be to enjoy the movie? So, nobody really wants to be sober. So we start at 1 martini and then go up to 5 martinis. It's just the movie's unbearable and you need to be blackout drunk. So that's how we rate our films. And then we do... I shouldn't say I make custom martinis for every movie that we cover for each of our episodes. So we're coming very close to our 100th episode. So I just cannot believe I've made 100 different martinis. Like that's
insane.
Absolutely wild. And I don't really pull from recipes online that often. I kind of try and get, feelings from the movie about what kind of theme or flavors I want to put in it, and I kind of just make it up as I go along, and sometimes they don't taste great. I'm not going to say all 100 taste really good.
All right. I'm going to try to upload a better picture. By the way, I want everybody to know we are so glad that Bernie was here tonight. Bernie is welcome to stay as long as he wants, but I don't know what his schedule is like since we arranged just like 45 minutes ago. So
I know I'm gonna have to help my girlfriend with dyeing her roots in just a minute. So
what a good boyfriend.
But I also haven't experienced all the Halloween stuff this year. I'm doing Knott's this weekend, and
wow!
In 2 weeks we're gonna do Halloween Horror Nights. I tend to be on Team Knott's though. I'm just gonna say they don't have all the licensed stuff, which is where HHN gets the nod, but I don't know. They're some of their effects are better, other than obviously the whole crashed airplane thing, whatever, showing off, just whipping it out Halloween. Anyway, but some of the effects are just so killer at Knott's. Their characters I think are better, and their jump scare points, you can't see them coming. Whereas I walk around Halloween Horror Nights and I'm like, oh, there's gonna be a guy. There's gonna be a guy. Yep. But anyway,
I agree with you. I agree with you on that completely.
And I love they've got a new Goring 20s. I can't wait to check out down there. But
what is that? What is that?
It's a new area. It's not like a maze itself, but it's an area that's Roaring 20s, Goring 20s.
Oh, that's fantastic! Because we're in the crazy 20s now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I remember
that just kicked in on my brain.
Natalie, I was telling you I think the best maze I've ever been in my life was at Knott's Scary Farm, and it was a couple years ago. It was the maze where it was indoors, where the entire room was filled up with fog and a laser just right at your waist level.
The deep water effect, yeah?
Yes, it was so great. Walking through it, and there are things under the surface of the deep that come up, and you never know when they're going to. I just thought that was brilliant.
Dude, that's the one that I always talk about too, because especially if you do events and stuff, you're like, low hanging fog, a hazer with the the whole thing, but it's executed so well. It also moves too. You're on some kind of a tectonic shaker deal, but executed so well that you really, even though you're looking at an effect, you think that you're in water almost. It really messes with your perception in all the best ways.
Yeah, I let Jim know. One of my favorite places to go now is called Reign of Terror.
Yes,
it's in Thousand Oaks, and it's this whole huge maze that they have all these different rooms, and they had a room that was like that for the first time last year, or in 2019, and my brain was just exploding. I didn't want to leave the room and continue walking through because it was such a cool experience, and to have the guys popping out from underneath the water that you think that you're in, I was like, how do I turn my apartment into this for the next party? I need
this year, because I'm gonna have to add that to the list.
Definitely. They've changed locations, and I'm not sure in this post-COVID world what that's going to look like
right now.
Exactly. But I highly recommend it. I've done it 3 years, and every year I'm like, was it as good as I remember? Am I making this up to be this crazy thing? And every year I go, I'm like, yep, it is just as good as I remember, and it's definitely my favorite, even over Halloween Horror Nights. I think Universal, that's an experience and that's fun, and I love going, but the actual scares and production value, it's very impressive.
Yeah, I think they do have another event coming up. Bernie, if I find the information, I will make sure I send it your way so you can see it. I know they had an event about a month or so ago, but it was like a pop-up, like quickly, like.
Are you talking Reign of Terror, Katie?
Yeah, Reign of Terror.
Yeah.
They've got dates coming up, so.
They have a date coming up. They were at Midsummer Screen this year, promoting it big time. And Natalie, one of your new best friends who was with you at Halloween Horror Nights this past Thursday night, she works there. She's a property manager for the event. So,
really?
I'm texting her right now to find out the information. So,
yeah,
up their website and they've got dates right now. So, I'm going to book that. Thank you for the recommendation.
You're welcome. The thing I have not done that I'm committing, and I'll say it on this podcast, I'm committing to do it on November 6th. They do a lights out version, where you get a flashlight and you get to walk through in the dark. And I've been wanting to do that for years, and I have to do it. I really need to do it. I say it every year, and I'm going to do it.
Waiting to happen.
That's terrifying.
I cannot wait, because it's the darkness that scares me the most. So that's what I want to do. Like, I want to experience that. Yeah.
All right. So, Bernie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was so great having you tonight. But Bernie, real quick before you leave, how are you up on the Halloween movies? I think you said you're not quite, right?
No, I dipped after like the 6th or 7th.
Well, this is number 12, so you can't be forgiven.
Hey, I've seen one, so you guys are already ahead of me. So,
well, wait, Katie, you've only seen one of the Halloween movies?
I've seen one.
Oh, well, my goodness!
I got a better picture.
Much better.
So much better. Oh my gosh! You can actually.
I've stayed up to date on Freddy, and I do want to say, Katie, you're the final girl of the show. That is my favorite horror movie in the last 10 years. Is The Final Girls? It is.
Oh yeah.
An incredible love letter to 80s slasher flicks. And it's so great. Anyway.
And anyone who is fans of 80s horror, we have an interview that we did with the final girl of Nightmare on Elm Street parts 5 and 6. She played Alice, and I am forgetting her name, but we did an awesome interview with her. And she's Cheeseman, when you come on, you're gonna have to remind me of her name.
Cheesy!
Lisa Wilcox. Yes. She was amazing, and we did a great interview with her. And the next Monday night, we have an interview that we're putting up with Sandy Johnson, the original Judith Myers from Halloween, the original 1978 Halloween. She was great. She's just discovered that she has a fan base. She never knew it. So it's kind of cool that she came on with us. So anyways, we are kicking into the Halloween season big time. So let's go ahead and talk about.
Before Jim forgets, where can people find you if they are wanting to just follow your life, since you have to bow out of here?
My bad.
Dude, the pandemic killed my social media vibe, but I'll get back to it. On Instagram, you can find me at The Geek Gatsby or at Nerds Like Us. On Twitter, at Nerds Like Us. I have a sports Twitter now. That's what I got up to during the pandemic. I just started talking a bunch of trash to.
I was watching some of that. That was cool,
dude. I just, there's certain fan bases I love to hate. The Cowboys, the Padres, anybody that faces the Lakers, pretty much the Clippers. I love to just smack around the Clippers. So, there you go.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Boston sports fans, we can all agree, no matter where everyone's from, Boston sports fans suck the absolute most out of all sports. It doesn't matter. Red Sox, Patriots, Bruins, the Celtics, their fans are just the absolute worst. So to all of them.
All right.
Well, here we are fans of all things Cubs, Ohio State, and even Clemson. Trevor Lawrence is my guy.
The Ohio State, Jim. How dare?
The Ohio State.
How dare? They are riding in the horseshoe as we speak.
All right, guys, let's talk Halloween kills.
Hey,
guys, have so much Bernie. So great to have you guys.
Cheeseman, what up?
Justin Clark, go Steelers. Cheeseman was actually kind of here with us a minute. I mean, in spirit, he'll be here just a second. But anyways, hey Cheeseman, are you ready to come on?
Scale, and then
the point I was trying to make. Boy, it was a long roundabout to get to this point. Was Natalie was talking about her expectations for Halloween Kills? Natalie, I would love to know your expectations, and then we'll talk about the trailer.
I'm just going to say my bar is very low, and I'm still open and willing to be surprised and to enjoy it. I'm still going to go in as an open audience. And I think, I was so excited about the original, the kind of retelling of the story and kind of coming back and having Jamie Lee Curtis. And it was just a really disappointing experience. And I just, there was a lot of little things that just really bothered me that I felt like didn't need to happen. And I think it could have been, with all the materials it had, it could have been a better movie. And it just seemed like there were decisions that just, I don't understand why they were made. And watching this trailer, I'm open. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm open. I'll see it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm probably I have a lot more grace and forgiveness for Halloween because I just love it so much. The Halloween franchise, I love it so much. Even Halloween 5 and 6, I consider the beauty of Halloween is the sister trilogy. Halloween's 1, 2, and then H2O is a perfect trilogy for Halloween.
Oh, I love H2O.
Isn't it great?
It's great.
Yeah, that's the first movie that featured Josh Hartnett.
I need to watch that one just because, I love Josh Hartnett.
Katie, you've seen the first Halloween, right?
I've seen the first one.
Okay, I think you would enjoy H2O a lot. It has kind of the WBCW sensibility to it, but it's still scary.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not. No, just
I know we kind of make fun of that, but it does it in the good kind of way. It does it like, Supernatural was on CWWB, and it was hard. It was hard driving and cool. This is more Supernatural and less Gossip Girl, is what I'm trying to say. But I don't want to get on anyone's Gossip Girl.
Weird two to compare. I feel like you mean like more Supernatural, less Riverdale. Well, but
Riverdale's gone dark, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm saying it's still not like Supernatural level.
Yeah.
I think the original Halloween, it's so great. It's incredibly scary. It's a really slow burn when you go back and watch it again. And you're like, oh, wow, we're kind of sitting in these moments for a while that this movie wouldn't succeed being released to audiences today. I think there's a nostalgia factor, that there's an appreciation for it and the art of it in a sense. And I know for me and my sensibilities of what I kind of grew up watching and Scream and loving that, I like a little comedy in my horror. I like to kind of lean into, we know it's camp and we're kind of accepting what the story is. So it's kind of hard for me to see a new Halloween movie and you've got Judy Greer in it and there is no
I love Judy Greer so much. Yeah.
There's like no fun in it. Like it just was like not at all what I thought it was going to be. And it was just, and it's Danny McBride too, right? Like, didn't he write it or producing it? My expectations were just completely.
Wait, Danny McBride,
it was very different.
Same Danny McBride.
David Gordon Green and Danny McBride co-wrote the movie. Danny McBride, the comedy, genius.
Yeah. So I had a certain idea of what this movie was going to be, which I thought they really could execute very, very well. But that was not it at all.
No, it wasn't. And I'm going to say, I remember as the old guy in the group, I'm the old guy in every group I talk to these days, but as the old guy in the group who saw Halloween on NBC when I was a kid, I think like in 1980 or 81, whenever it came on television, and it kind of changed me as a kid. It made me like, wow. It was like my first horror movie. I gravitated to it. I loved. Besides like the Godzillas and the King Kongs, it was like a true slasher horror movie. It made me think differently about the holiday of Halloween. I started loving Halloween because of that. That movie is why I love Halloween. I love jack-o'-lanterns. I love pumpkins. But the beauty of that movie, it was the slow burn. It had an elegance to it. It wasn't. It wasn't the Friday. And I don't want to besmirch Friday the 13th because I love all those schlocky 80 movies. They're fun. But Halloween was more creeping and atmosphere, and things were in the shadows and you didn't know where it was. Whereas Halloween 2018, the new one, it was overly gross. They stepped on that when they stepped on the doctor's head, and it turned into like spaghetti and jello all over the ground. I'm like, good Lord, that was nasty. but you know, I can take,
I'm just thinking you say spaghetti and jello, and I'm like, was it actually spaghetti and jello? Like,
well, I'm thinking because I made a big thing of spaghetti last night, so that's I'm kind of well, you know. And by the way, I'm not offended by some pretty cool gore. But when it's used for Halloween, I think they substitute the gore for the scares this time. They substitute the brutality. And let's talk about
that's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah,
I have a question for you.
Whereas Scream was very brutal, but it was the brutality that went right along with the story, and it was just so perfectly done. I would like to say Justin Clark, Halloween was his jam forever and always, and I'm just happy to get an updated movie. Okay.
And that's again, I agree with that because I like the franchise, and that's why I'm probably going to keep coming back.
Yep.
I mean, unless they take this 3, 4, 5 movies down the road, and I'm still unhappy with what they're doing with it, but I still have hopes because I like the franchise and I like Michael.
So because I know Jim's going to segue into the actual trailer, which I unfortunately did not watch. I'm so sorry, y'all. I fail. But my question is, to Natalie and Jim, as people who both love the franchise, would you rather it be gore or would you rather it be just scary?
Scary.
Which one? Scary? Okay.
If you had to choose, but I don't think you have to choose.
You want to see like a happy medium between the both, Jim, right?
But I think that's the word Jim used to describe the first one it's elegance. And I think it was so smart and it was so scary and it was just really methodical in how the scares were executed. And I think Michael's look just lends to that, you know, it just kind of like just being in the shadow and just kind of slowly creeping out. It's like, I want that, you know, I don't want this like, you know, jump and just gore and blood everywhere, and that's what you're grossed out by. Like that was the only thing, you know, and he's beating up this girl in this bathroom and nobody's paying attention. It's just like,
oh, I know. Okay,
so
here's the deal.
Wild.
Since we're Michael Myers bashing against all, let's bash. I can't say that I completely hated Halloween 2018, especially since we tagged Jamie Lee Curtis and David Gordon Green on the show tonight. And if you're watching, I'm sorry. No, It's an impossible task, an absolutely impossible task to continue the story of Michael Myers. Here's where I think they went wrong.
Her hair.
Oh, for God's sakes, what was wrong with her hair?
Oh my God. And it's just like
wearing hay.
It was the weirdest choice I've ever seen. And I think there's a lot of choices that people are making in film right now, which I really appreciate. Like the new Suicide Squad, they didn't have Harley in heels like the entire time. She was in like sensible footwear, and you know, people are putting their hair up and using a ponytail holder. You know, it's just like, and there's certain things where it's like women don't go work out with their hair down because it gets in the way and it's annoying. Her frizzy hair was all in her face as this killer she's prepping. She has trained. She's ready for this moment, and she's allowing this obstacle that no woman would allow be an obstacle in real life. It was just such an infuriating choice as a woman to just watch this whole movie play out with this hair all over the place. It was.
Can I ask you a question? I think I would prefer your perspective than my perspective on the treatment of trauma in a woman's life. Like, H2O seemed to handle it in a stronger way.
Yes.
Whereas the 2018 seemed to handle it in she's coming apart at the seams kind of.
Oh, yeah. Like completely unraveled.
Yeah.
Like it just, and I know that was part of the gimmick, is to kind of her being in more control than what she's letting everybody to believe. But
she lured him in.
Yeah. But it's still, I don't know. It was just too far gone. And then we're seeing in the trailer, it's like, oh, well, this is still her look. Great.
Yeah, I know. And my favorite part of 2018 is when Judy Greer is in the basement and she has the gun pointed at the open doorway where Michael is supposedly going to show up, and she's crying, Mom, I can't do it. I can't do it. This is not me. I can't do it. And she cries and she cries. And then Michael pops up and she stops crying. She goes, gotcha. Bam.
That was the best moment. And maybe the only best moment.
I love that scene. It gave me chills. And I also loved there's a couple of classic Halloween scenes, the babysitter scenes, which were great. Although they felt like they were shoehorned in. Like, it was just this side, oh yeah, let's put this scene in that has nothing whatsoever to do with the movie.
Yeah.
But I did love the scene of the granddaughter when she discovers her friend who's been killed and impaled on the fence. And she goes, it's Michael, he's back. And she goes running for her life. That was a cool scene. And the John Carpenter music of that scene was great. But
I will say my last note, because it's like, I think I know H2O actually the best out of all of the movies. That and the first one I've watched the most. Yes. But it's like, there is something to say. Yes, she has gone through this trauma. It's in that movie, it's her brother, which in this movie, it's not. We don't have that information. And so in that, to me, I feel like that's even more traumatic, that it wasn't just like a random act of bad timing, that you were, a survivor of this incident. This is your family member. Like, this is your blood that is in you. And maybe that's you're questioning who you are too. There's so many more elements of trauma that I feel like H2O kind of handles. And she's so much more stronger throughout. Yes, she is dealing with, the psychoses of living through that, but she's still, she's a mom first, and she's a protector of her son first. And she's
Mama Bear, she's coming back with the claw. Yeah.
So it was uncomfortable to see her, even though maybe this was all a game. It was uncomfortable to see her for 70 minutes of the movie be this unraveled, weak woman. And that's not at all what I wanted to see from her.
I agree. All right. That is how we feel about 2018. We had great parts, but it could have been better by far.
Wait, can I ask one more question before you guys move on?
Yes.
Natalie, what's the martini scale for Halloween 2018?
Oh, yeah.
That's a 5.
Okay.
I was pissed. I went to iPick and I spent a ridiculous amount of money to see that movie and on drinks, and I was fucking furious. So I had gotten a cup. Right. Yeah, I think I had gotten about 2 or 3 scotches, and I was still angry. So I consider that a 5 martini movie.
Right. And I am going to ask Luke Cheeseman when he is going to join the show. So I'll let him tell me. Okay, keep going. I can see him in the background here. He's
okay.
He's packing. He's going to join us when we talk about Halloween Horror Nights. All right.
God damn it, Cheese.
I know. So the trailer for Halloween Kills it dropped today. If by today I mean Monday. What is the date today? The 20th. This is the first week of fall. Perfect time to drop a Halloween Kills trailer. And what did we see, Natalie? What did we see in this trailer?
Okay. Again, this is where I'm hoping that maybe it's just going to be a little bit more fun and a little bit of camp. So Michael saved the fire. So surprise. And he's now back to get everybody that survived the first movie. And so they're bringing back a lot of people from the first film. And even Kyle Richards, who is now a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills. And again, wanting it to be more fun when you're making decisions like that. I would think that there's more comedy in this, but the trailer played it pretty straight. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to just be along for that ride. Like, it just already felt way too dry. And I was just like, you have Kyle Richards. You want me to take this seriously? You have Kyle Richards in it right now. Like, I just let it be fun.
If they don't do some kind of Beverly Hills joke, they have missed an opportunity, Is
this one produced by Blumhouse too, or no?
Yes, this is Blumhouse.
Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to ask.
Which I have, for the most part, I've trusted them because they are the best
They're pretty good.
They're concentrating mainly on the story and less on just the bloviating, the whatever. But
yeah, they're better at like psychological stuff.
So what we saw in the trailer is Michael survives the fire. It looks like Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode and her family are at the hospital, and they find out that he has survived. They have survived, and Jamie rallies the troops, and including the little boy and the little girl from the first movie. Kyle Richards plays Lindsay. The young boy was Tommy. The character, the original Tommy, they did not bring back. We've seen him at many a convention. He is in no condition to come back. He'll sell you some weed, but he will not show. He's funny. He's funny to talk to. I don't want to just besmirch him, but they got Anthony Michael. Wait, what's his last name?
Anthony Michael
Hall he plays the older Tommy. So Laurie gathers them and says, we've got to get him. We're going to defeat Michael. The nurse from the original movie is back, although she was killed in H2O, but she's back since H2O is being ignored. And so basically it looks like they got rid, like Natalie, you were talking, the whole storyline of the sister. So Michael's no longer coming after the sister. He's coming after the people who survived his first rampage back in Haddonfield in 1978. All right. I don't know why he would do that, but okay.
I mean, I've only seen the first movie, but as someone who loves true crime stuff, all sorts of stuff, I feel like that is a natural way to go. Is the one that got away? You're always kind of like, that's kind of the central part of a lot of horror. Maybe,
but I love the sister. I don't understand what I do. I saw them talk at a San Diego Comic-Con, and the producers and Jamie Lee Curtis was there. They said they got rid of the sister storyline because they thought it was scarier that random violence found Laurie Strode. Random violence found these people. And that's why in the last movie, he just walked around killing people indiscriminately. And in the trailer for this movie, it looks like he's just going to kill anybody who gets in his way. I don't know. I like this.
I don't disagree with that. I think that is terrifying.
Yeah.
I personally like it when there's a lot of mystery behind who the person is and why they're doing it, because then it makes it feel like you could be next. I feel like that just makes it feel even more possible or connected to you in some sort of way, and
right.
So I'm fine with that. But then it feels so specific that he's coming back for these people. It's just.
Yeah. Justin says he loves that they're not related, and a lot of people do. I'm not one of those people, but I get I understand it. Yeah.
But the question is, are they not? May not be related, but if you're going by like typical serial killer rules, there's always something that's a common ground between things.
That's what people don't realize. Serial killers have a commonality with who they attack. They
have some sort of thing that connects everybody, and that's sometimes more fascinating because you're like, sometimes you have to think about it, like, oh, this is how they're connected, which maybe that's not going to be what happens, but that would be an interesting way to go about it.
Well, I don't think Michael Myers necessarily, the way they have constructed his history, is now a serial killer. He's what's called a spree killer. He went on a killing spree over one night, and now he's returned 40 years later to that, and he gets back out. Justin says he's listening and learning something. Justin, I don't know if we're educating very much, but but it is interesting that he is coming back. And in the trailer, we see Kyle Richards comes back as Lindsay. Young Tommy comes back. The nurse comes back. You see the town seemingly reacting to the fact that Michael Myers is back. They're out in force. There's even one scene where you see the perspective of somebody who has obviously been thrown off a tall building, is plummeting to their death towards the ground, and their hands are waving in their air. We're about to see a big splatter, guys. It's going to be, and I do have to say that at the Venice Film Festival, some people walked out of this movie and they said it was just so unrelentingly brutal, they just couldn't watch it. And
I get that's very possible just from the trailer, because when they were showing like the killing of the people in the car, it looks like he just rips off this woman's scalp. And it just like, I was like, I don't know that that's totally necessary. I understand that like torture porn is like a thing for some horror movies. And I will say, I still love the original Saw, but had a hard time getting through the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's not really my preferred cup of tea. I'd rather more of the like psychological or whatever, and I'm fine with gore, and I'm kind of,
I am too,
but this seems, even the first one was like, it's just too much.
Yeah. And like, honestly, I get that, like, that is a very much popular genre with horror, but that's not Halloween. I mean, I've seen the first movie and I know that that's not what Halloween is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I get that you're trying to make it updated to, 2021, but like, let Saw do that. Let Hostel do that. Let
in the first Halloween, they didn't even have blood. They had because they had no budget for blood. I think if they had more budget, they would have had some blood. But I do agree with Justin Clark that he's like Kevin. He says he's like Kevin Smith. He's just a fan and happy to get more of all this movie goodness. I do agree. I'm happy that Michael Myers is back, and I'm going to see this movie. I saw the Rob Zombie versions, and I just wasn't 100% happy with. I didn't like. I kind
of liked those better.
I think I'm beginning to appreciate them more.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am. So we'll see.
It was just it was a darker and grittier.
Look who it is.
Oh my gosh. Look who's deciding to join us now that we have 5 minutes left.
All right, we're going to finish up with our talk of the Halloween trailer because we do have to go into we can't spend all night here. We do have to jump into Halloween Horror Nights pretty quickly. Luke, do you have any thoughts on the trailer?
I thought it was cool. Like, it kind of brought back kind of like this scary night of Halloween, and kind of, because even the kids were like this, because our friend Jamie always talks about, he missed in the last one, like the kind of the childlikeness of Michael and kind of playing some of the games, even though he did hide in the closet, where he was almost kind of like playing these games with these kids, but not, going after them. But like in a way, he's got that kind of creepy way of kind of stalking or taunting people, or knows he's kind of like a creeper going on. So I thought it brought a little bit back of that, classic Michael Myers and that more of the boogeyman kind of feel into the night. Of course, they could have showed maybe a little more fun, maybe more of that aspect. But I think that, will still kind of be
because there's not going to be any fun.
I think there'll still be some of that, and probably that annoying boyfriend will get killed or something.
Let's hope so. For goodness sakes.
So what I'm getting from is everyone should maybe, not that I'm saying you should, but go into the movie with completely no expectations, and maybe go to the bar beforehand.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the vibe I am getting from this.
If you go, I can guarantee you, if you go into it 2 to 3 martinis deep, you'll probably have a better time than sober. Like, that's just what I'm gonna say.
Let's make a night. Let's get a bunch of us together and go see it. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I would do that.
What do you think about, real quick, because we do have to jump on to the next section real quick, but it's being released on Peacock on October 15th.
Yeah.
Which is, what do you think about that?
When does it come out?
That's the day before. It's before it comes out the 16th in theaters.
Wait, so it's going on streaming before it comes out in theaters?
I think so.
Actually, you know what? I have a better idea. I have a great theater setup. I will make you guys martinis, and you come over and watch it. We'll watch it on Peacock. How about that?
All right. That sounds like an awesome thing.
I have some catching up to do, but we'll do it.
Yeah. Katie, all you need to watch is part 1.
Yeah.
I own the 2018 one. Our friend Jamie talked me into buying it one night. I don't know why I bought it.
Oh God.
But you know what? Let me put it. I am such a big fan of Halloween. I'm not gonna hate on it too much. By the way, Luke, can we say the cool thing that Jamie got hired to do? Yeah, no.
I think so. It didn't sound like it's a super.
Jamie got hired to be Michael Myers on the red carpet of the movie's premiere with Jamie Lee Curtis and the rest of the cast.
Oh, that's cool.
He's a big guy, and he portrays Michael Myers.
He's played him a few times before.
Yeah, he was in the when Michael Myers was being featured at Halloween Horror Nights. He was the guy that was in in the trailers, the commercials. Speaking of which,
can he come over when we watch it and he can stand behind us in the costume all night? I think that would really enhance the movie watching experience.
I know.
And I could just dress up.
Oh, that would freak me out. Anyways,
that mannequin freaks me out every time I go to your house. But.
Yeah,
I know. So Halloween Kills comes out October 15th on Peacock. I think it's October 16th in theaters. I'm gonna see it. I know I'm sitting here and griping like crazy, but I'm gonna see it. I love me some Michael Myers. Please be scary. Please be scary. All right.
Oh, everything I said, I'm going to see it still anyway. So.
Absolutely, and we'll get those martinis ready just in case. All right. So let's move into the main point. The main purpose of gathering tonight. And I know that we have kind of gone long. I apologize, guys. We'll try to get through this as quickly and expeditiously as possible. Halloween Horror Nights, Hollywood. All of us have gone through it. Katie, you went a week before we did. Yeah, Natalie, and Luke went this past Thursday night with front of the line passes, I might say, which made all the difference. Wait. I got to say hello. Hey, Mike Emke from Orlando, Florida. Mike, I'm going to Orlando tomorrow, man. I'm going to be at your place, Epcot, on Friday. So hopefully I'm going to come try to find you. All right. All right, guys. Let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights. Hollywood and Luke, you have loaded in some photos for us. So I'm going to kind of let you kind of talk about. Go ahead. Luke, you want to take us through some of the stuff?
Well, it's just getting the video ready. That's what that was.
So. All right, cool. I think Mike might have said something back real quick. Yes, let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights. Yes, and Mike says, I will be at American Gardens Theater. Okay, good. That's Disney speak. All right.
I have no idea what that meant. So
Amgard. All right, let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights. Katie, I just want to know your general impression of this year's Halloween Horror Nights after an absence of 2 years.
Well, first of all, this was my very first Horror Nights as not working at Universal. So that was already a weird, bittersweet experience for me because I actually had to pay to go. So it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't the worst. But okay, let me talk about this picture first because it might not have been the best actual event, but I had a wonderful time and I had fun with the people I met. The person right below the still walker was standing up is my friend Chase. It was his birthday. We went to celebrate his birthday. And the person who is in the suit may or may not be his husband. So we got to take a picture with him. We got the VIP treatment.
You mean may or not be in the still walker suit?
Yes.
Okay. They have matching horns. That's
sorry
good.
if I do not want to get anybody in trouble by saying this. Anyway.
May or may not. Okay, that's fine.
But we got the VIP treatment and we're surprised with a VIP photo op. So we got to take that fun picture with the still walker. And then we have some fun backdrops. There wasn't a lot of set design, which we can talk about a little bit later. But me and Emily.
Go through some of the pictures you sent me, Katie. This is
from Universal Monsters, Bride of Frankenstein Maze. Okay. Beautiful entrance. That was me and my Universal Monsters Stitch Shop cardigan. Had to wear it.
Just the front of it.
Amazing entrance for the maze. I have to say, I just absolutely love this. You're going into the story, so I had to take a picture for that, and it was great. I was really, really excited about the Bride of Frankenstein maze because I absolutely loved the first Universal Monsters maze that they did a few years ago. So I was excited to see another one. So, and I think, was that all those pictures I sent? I think it was, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's all the pictures you sent. And Luke has loaded in some other pictures from our night when we went. And Natalie, I'm so glad that you went. Natalie, was this the first time we've been at the same time?
No, I feel like we've gone maybe one other time.
I think we have to. Luke, have we gone with Natalie and her long departed Lena?
I feel like we always talked about it, but we would just barely miss each other.
Yeah.
I feel like we've done at least once together.
But maybe there was one time.
All right. Yeah. So let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights. Luke, why don't you take us through some of the pictures that you have loaded up, and we'll talk about it. So here's the entrance to Universal Studios. We all kind of showed up. I think we showed up around 6:30. We had dinner and drinks over at Margaritaville, the best way to start a night. And then we went in around 7:30. Oh, that's a great shot of us, Natalie.
So cute. Love it.
Me and my Michael Myers Just Do It shirt. And there's our gang. That's Christine in the front, who has special connections to the Reign of Terror. Johnny Tang. That's Katie, Natalie, Jim, and Cheeseman. Let's keep going.
I'll go back to your shirt, your Nike shirt, because it kept taking them a second to realize it, but it was a tribute to it was a parody of a Nike shirt that Just Do It.
Well, yeah,
looks like the Nike symbol.
So basically, it's saying just kill people.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. All right, what's the next? Okay, so one of the first houses that we did that night, I think, is the next picture you have. The Haunting of Hill House.
So good.
So, okay. The Haunting of Hill House. Okay, let's go to this next picture. Oh, I'm sorry, Luke. I was trying to go to the next picture. All right. So this is a house based completely on Mike Flanagan's Haunting of Hill House, season 1 on Netflix, which was, in my opinion, one of the most perfect, beautiful, elegant, scary shows to be on Netflix in years. And that's saying a lot. By the way, Netflix has another show coming up. Mike Flanagan has another show coming on this week called Black Mass. I think it starts Thursday. So the new show. All right. I've got to be, I would love to know what you thought, Katie.
Okay. So not my favorite event, but given the fact that we've just went through we're in the middle of we're still in a pandemic. The fact that the event got canceled last year, the fact that there's all these new things that have to happen for an event like this to happen, I completely understand it being a little bit underwhelming compared to years past. So that's completely understandable. Understandable in the fact that there's some repeat mazes. But if you guys are not new to the Scare Guy, you know that there's a thing that I get very fatigued by at HHN, and that is the fact that we see the same mazes over and over again. This year that felt more obvious than it has in years past. The mazes I didn't particularly care for were Halloween, The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I've seen every single one of those mazes before at HHN before. Yeah. And so it was just a little underwhelming, those particular mazes. They didn't feel special. I honestly didn't really get scared that much in them. So it was like, okay, I've been there, done that. A little bit tired. But Haunting of Hill House, I have not seen the show. Yes, I know. I have not seen the show yet.
Eva, you gotta see this. It's amazing.
I know, but you guys have to remember, I have a roommate who's just recently gotten into horror. So I have to watch these on my own time, which is hard to find. So that's my argument. Anyway, so we went through the Haunting of Hill House. And even though I haven't seen it, because I've gone through mazes that I hadn't seen the movie for before, so it's not like a new concept to me, but absolutely stunning. That maze was beautiful. The production design, the costumes, it was just great. I absolutely enjoyed that maze. And maybe because I haven't seen the show, it had some more of the spookiness to it because I didn't know what to expect. The second favorite maze would have been Universal Monsters because it was just fantastic.
It wasn't called Universal Monsters, though.
It was Universal Monsters Bride of Frankenstein.
It was Bride of Frankenstein Lives.
Yeah, but I believe they still put Universal Monsters in front.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Not to interrupt, but do we want to go house by house? So
let's go house by house.
Yeah, go ahead. You guys can talk about Haunting of Hill House.
So let's start at Hill House.
What was your opinion of Hill House to start off?
Yeah, that was mine. I thought I really enjoyed it. And the only weird thing is it was weird not being on the back lot. This year, in case you guys haven't heard, they are not utilizing the back lot. I'm assuming due to COVID, they have to keep everything a little bit more controlled. So instead, they had a new location, which is where the Haunting of Hill House and Pandora's Box is, which was a little weird. But
it bummed me out completely.
I did not mind the long walk that we had to take to the Metro sets.
Natalie, what do you think of Haunting of Hill House? And I think I agree more so with Natalie.
So I just have to preface this with, I absolutely love the show. I think the first season of it is probably one of my favorite Netflix series ever. Yep. It was so beautifully done. And so this was my highest expectation of Maze and the first one we did. And I think the entire time leading up to going to Halloween Horror Nights, I was thinking about the repercussions of COVID and what it would look like for me as an audience member and being around people. I didn't think about how different it would be inside the maze. So this was a real kick in the face as to this is not the same as what it would have been years previous. And so I think the realization, especially in this particular story, when they're focusing so much on the bent neck lady, who that isn't a mask, a full face mask that she can hide under.
Oh, there she is.
Any of the actors are wearing medical masks, which I want them to be safe. But that's not her character, and that's not the look. So we either got that, or we got a lot of models and animatronics and things like that, or pictures, on the wall. So it was not as much physical. There wasn't a physical presence there as much as I would have liked it to have been. Mm-hmm. So it was really surprised. I was just left very underwhelmed and kind of was like, okay, I need to really lower my expectations for how many people are going to be coming out and scaring us and how they can scare us. And, that helped me, but it was disappointing that was the one that helped me set the expectations for the rest of the night.
Was this our first house?
This is our first house.
Yeah. Luke.
As he takes a sip of beer.
As I take a sip of beer, which I didn't know I was going to not drink till Orlando time, but it's a pumpkin beer, and why not? And we got the martini scale lady on here. So
exactly.
I wore this for you, by the way. This nice Scream shirt.
I love it.
Our friends at Monster Teas made it.
Oh, I'd love that too.
One of their newest ones. But talking about the Haunting on Hill House attraction, as someone that suffers from sleep paralysis at times, not so much recently, but I have in the past, the whole kind of thing with that character, I think I had the idea, and I wish they could have done it more differently, of as if you're going through and it's almost like you were in sleep paralysis, as they could alter the room, almost like you're stuck in a bed looking around the room and there she is above you. I think they could have played a little more with the lore or reality of sleep paralysis. And there's some of the other characters and things, and like you said, there were some spots that were kind of empty and stuff, but I really like the show. I like that character. The tall guy with the cane is terrifying. They really utilized those two characters pretty well, but some of the other stuff they could have done, what the show did great also is just having someone kind of just randomly there, looking at you, or kind of off camera as it's moving, that you go back and oh my gosh, I just saw a ghost, but they didn't really make a big deal out of it. You could have had some random person kind of just watching you through, or kind of playing with more of the characterization of the show and kind of the overall feel of it. But again, they did great with the IP and getting to kind of see some of the characters. I just felt like they could have expanded on it, which made it not one of my most favorite ones I went through, but I feel like it might have been early on a little understaffed at the moment we went.
I'm going to say a couple of weeks back, we did what's called a hype list, and a lot of the Halloween Horror Nights podcasts, there's a bunch of them. Every year they do the annual hype list, which they rank the mazes that are the highest on their hype list. This was the one at the top of my hype list. I was the most excited about it. I love this. This was my biggest disappointment, and it's in some ways. In other ways, I am a fan of IP. I love horror movies. I just loved walking through Hill House. I loved walking through the scenes. That part I loved. Mm-hmm. There was one part that did scare me. There was a point where I looked over and there was a big open space, and you saw just the tall man, just his legs walking by her. So I was like, holy crap, that is crazy scary. That was good. But I've been listening to the Haunt Network podcast recently. It's the professional association of haunters across the country, and they've been having a shortage. They've been really having a problem getting people, because of COVID, to come work at these haunt events. And so we saw that resulted in this. A lot of this was automated. There were fewer scare actors in this and more, props that came out at you and stuff. And I think they planned for it, and they did a good job. They did as good as they did. I didn't hate this by far. And like Katie said, I'm just glad it's 2 years in and we are getting another haunted Halloween Horror Nights. there were some other mazes that I loved. So anyways, I don't want to downplay it too much. This one was my biggest knocked down from the top of my hype list. All right.
I do want to say one more thing about that before we move on. And just as like an overall, like, it kind of disappoints me at times when it feels like Universal keeps kind of doing the same trick over and over, where it's the like flashing strobe light and the person in the corner just doing this for a second with a knife and then just pops back in the corner, where a lot of other traditional haunted houses, they're a little more creative about it, or having people talk to you where they'll just play an audio clip that someone just lip syncs to. Like, I know they're filtering a lot of people through, but sometimes I see a lack of creativity in kind of the way they're doing it, where you see just like, oh, there's a black curtain, someone's about to jump out, or you see it happen, and all right, it's gonna happen again in 5 seconds, versus, finding another angle.
Katie's busted at the seams.
30 seconds,
Katie.
I just think it's funny because I've, needless to say, kind of told you guys that for like the last 3 years that they need new creativity going into the event. And so it's just funny to hear you guys saying it, because usually it's me who's like, I'm a little bored.
Yeah. And we got to be, let's be honest though. It is because a lot of this is because of the fact that for the majority of the staff that plans this event have been furloughed for the last 6 months.
Yeah, and there are factors, but
John Murdy himself was not working, so they weren't planning. Apparently,
but some of these things would still have happened had the pandemic not happened. Some of it would not have, some of it would have, and that's the thing.
Some of these haunted houses were planned pre-pandemic, which means they don't have an excuse. All right, let's go on to. There's one house I'm going to kind of save towards the end because it just scared the bejesus out of me, and it was so good, and it was the bottom of my hype list. But when I went into it, I was like, are you kidding me? This thing is great. Okay, next, Exorcist. Let's talk about Exorcist. What do you guys think about The Exorcist, Natalie?
I actually liked this maze because I thought it was really fun that we kind of kept going back and revisiting the same room while a different experience was happening in the room. Yep. And there was different focuses in what the scare was in the room each time you walked through it, and you didn't know who was real or who was, a mannequin or an animatronic. And so that was kind of fun. And I had told Cheeseman that there was one room, which he didn't realize that this was happening, that the wind was blowing through the window really hard in one room. And I was like, I fucking love this. Like, this is what I like. Like, that felt different. I wanted to just stay in that room for a little bit and experience it, because I was like, well, fucking done. Like, wanted to just give a round of applause, because that felt like
it's already an R-rated show because of Bernie's wall. Just to say,
she can say whatever she wants. Yes,
but it's to me that was using different elements to kind of create an atmosphere that felt different. So as much as I think The Exorcist, I've been through that there before at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, to me, that felt like something that was new and fresh and made me enjoy it.
I agree. I really like The Exorcist. While we were approaching, the Circular Bells theme from the movie was playing, which just got me into the spirit of it. And as you entered, they had the facade of the brownstone in Williams. It's Washington. It's somewhere outside Williamstown or something. And you saw, as we're all walking in, the Exorcist priest, the old priest, is standing outside. Mm-hmm. And is that a real person, or was that a
no?
That was
actually Johnny Knoxville.
Just
don't let him bend over with shorts on.
Yeah.
No, that creeped me out, because I thought it might have been a real person, because there were parts in some of these houses where it looked like a wax figure. Then all of a sudden it would kind of walk towards you. I'm like, holy crap. So yeah, I loved this one. This one was inside one of the larger sound.
So this is in the sound stage, which was a space that they started 2 years prior to this. Well, 3 if you count COVID, with Stranger Things. Stranger Things was the first maze.
Yeah, that's what Natalie was saying. Yeah.
So this is the first time that I actually was surprised Hill House was not the one that was on this stage, because it is the one that you can do the biggest production, lighting, etc. on. So I was a little surprised that Hill House was not on that stage.
Yeah.
I feel like they really should have switched those because I feel like it would have been so much nicer to have Hill House have more room to like utilize like the actual hallways of the house and like things that are down the hallway that maybe you're not able to walk down this portion of the hallway. Like you need that space in that room, and the actual space that you're walking through is so small for Exorcist. It didn't feel like the footprint was that big. There was more people waiting inside than anything else.
Yeah, and that is how it differed from when Stranger Things was there, is that when Stranger Things was there, the walls were like 10 feet high. Like they were higher, they were taller. So you didn't get that sense that you were in this temporary structure. It felt more like a movie set. And obviously due to, I'm assuming, COVID, they weren't able to do the things that they would have normally done if they had the correct way to prep for it. Because that was one of the disappointing things for me too, is I was like, we've been inside for a really long time. And when Stranger Things, you were only inside for, I feel like, a less time than you were for this one. And my roommate really liked this one because it scared her the most. I'd say it was on the middle. I'd say it was on the middle for me. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. I hate The Exorcist. I did see it the first time the maze came when I was working there. And I don't like demonic possession movies. It's just not my thing. But I'm okay with the fact that they didn't have the threads hanging from the ceiling that like tickle you as you walk through. I understand why they didn't do that. Obviously, we are living in a COVID world. They can't do that for sanitary reasons. But I hated that about the first maze because it was just like, I don't like this. I don't like walking through things. So if you guys are a regular Horror Nights fan, you're not going to get the walking through curtains. You're not going to get the walking through bodies because of the
we didn't get that.
Because of the fact that people can't be touching everything, thousands of people per night. It's just it's not going to work right now. So that's
a good point.
So with one of the things that Universal relies on is, yes, they have those predictable scares, but sometimes there'll be like a curtain in your way. So when you walk through that curtain, they pop out and scare you right away. They couldn't do that in a post-COVID world.
Yeah.
So it did take away a little bit because you could see 20 feet before you. You could see what was going on. Whereas normally there'd be those curtains.
And I did notice that they didn't have the big, on most of them, the big chase you out of the scare zone. I mean, chase you out of the maze scares at the very end. They had some big scenes, but I noticed they didn't want to chase you out into the crowd. It seemed like they didn't have the big at the end.
But to me, it was just a medium ground. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was the first maze I believe we went on, if I remember correctly. It was a good way to start the night, but it was just kind of like, I remember most of this from the first maze that we did for The Exorcist. So
I do have to say this. Jonathan Wilkinson is commenting. He has some great ideas for two scary mazes. One,
I saw that.
They need a house where they talk about your 401k and your credit score.
Oh my God.
The spookiest house they can do right now. Also, his second one, new house idea, new house concept. Someone is just trying to cough on you and chasing you. Instead of chainsaw case.
Real terror.
Hilarious. All right, I love it. All right,
house.
We do have to move along a little bit quicker now, guys. We have two big IPs that let's talk about. Let's talk about the big IP from 1973, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Luke, you got some photos there, I think?
I have some video of it that I'll show at one point, but here's the exterior going in, which was a good kind of, this was right outside of a studio, wasn't inside of one. Great
facade. I like it.
I did like this one.
This one was in the Waterworld queue, by the way.
In the Waterworld queue.
Yeah.
I thought this one was just a good classic kind of house, like a good use of Leatherface going through. It felt gritty. The only thing I would have done differently is like make it feel a little bit more of that like running from in the woods feeling. They could have filled up with trees some of the black hallways right towards the end, but they really did get some of us in the group to jump good, especially Christine. Christine really got spooked a couple times on this one, but I
gotta tell you, this one surprised me how much it scared me. I was not looking forward to it. I'm like, Texas Chainsaw, every haunted house I've ever been into my entire life has had chainsaws, or at least the sound of chainsaw. So I'm like, what else are they gonna do?
The hard thing about doing it all at once, though, like I can't always remember all the details. Was there much use of like real people doing the other family. I remember the old man, but it was more like a mannequin.
All around like the table and stuff.
Yeah,
they definitely had a lot of people.
They had more people
than mannequins. Like, did they use kind of more? It seemed like Leatherface.
Yeah, they had a lot of real people.
Okay.
Is this one of the house? I remember there was one house we went through, and Natalie goes, "Well, this is where all the people are."
Bride of Frankenstein was.
Bride of Frankenstein. That's right.
There were so many of them in there. Oh my God, that was wild. I was like, can we spread this out a little bit more? But there was. I felt like there was a good amount in Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah. And just a little bitty plug, if you guys want to check out our interview with Bill Moseley, who played Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw 2, we just did it this past week, and that is up now. So go check that out. All right, Cheeseman, show us some of the video you're talking about.
No.
Was that a dog?
Well, I had a kind of a collage.
Yeah, that was my roommate's dog. I'm sorry.
Like a little montage and stuff that we could just kind of show at the end briefly and just kind of do a final recap through.
Okay. I mean, to me, I think Leatherface is probably one of the scariest looking bad guys out there. That being around him, to me, that is one of the things that's just enough for me. I don't want to be standing next to you ever. And so him just aggressively coming at me is enough to get me walking a little bit faster to get out of there. So it just, that's an easy scare for me. I have liked that maze every time it's been around, but this time it was no exception. I really liked it.
Do you find the look of the old ones scarier than the newer ones, or which one do you find scarier if you're like in one of these mazes?
New one or old one? What?
Yeah, Leatherface.
Like
the look of Leatherface, because this was based on more of the traditional look of.
Yeah, I personally I like the original look of Leatherface. I think gets more disgusting and grosser with the newer versions, which I don't like as much.
Katie,
they did have a scene where you see him sewing his mask.
Oh, I hated that.
I was like, that is great.
Yeah,
Katie, the costumer.
As much as I hate Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm sorry, y'all. I really don't care for that movie. That scene, I was like, all right, he's sewing a skin mask. He is sewing a skin mask. And you have to appreciate the horror aspect of that. So.
Well, Katie works in wardrobe, so I hope one day she has to use skin to sew outfits together. And it's like, ugh, my least favorite thing. I'm having to do a wardrobe of skin.
Jonathan Clark wanted to know, did they do the thing? They did not do it this year, but man, they need to do that.
That would terrify me. That would freaking terrify me.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, Jonathan Wilkinson, Leatherface has a mask, but a hole in the mouth. That's why he's so frightening. So I did like the fact they had the girl in the hook just sitting there kind of squirming in the hook. That to me was unnerving. But the dinner scene, when you saw the grandpa slowly beating the head, I'm like, oh my gosh.
That was good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we all sound like we have a really messed up mind when we say that something was good.
We're all messed up. That's why we love this.
I do have to say, even though I didn't care so much for the Leatherface maze, it did have a lot of horror feel to it. You actually felt like, I don't want to be here. Like, if I was in a woods and this is a house I ended up in, I would be trying to get the hell out. And also, for any of you gamers out there, that was the one where I felt most like I was in a Dead by Daylight game. Like, I am trying to get the heck out of here so I do not become one of those people. So I have to.
Katie, you made a good point there. Like, the thing that the Hill House maze was missing, I never felt uncomfortable in there. I never felt like, whereas in Chainsaw, I felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to touch anything. It was just like, you felt like you're descending into the depths of. Yeah, it was disturbing. All right, the other IP. Sorry, I'm going to push this real quick here, guys. We talked about it a little bit earlier. My favorite, Halloween 4 Halloween 4 of all things made an appearance as a maze. Was this the first time they did Halloween 4? He may have been featured briefly in some other things, but they did Halloween 4 complete with the final famous scene of Dr. Loomis trying to shoot little Jamie off the top of the staircase as she becomes the new Michael Myers killer. This one was okay. I just love seeing Michael Myers, and I'm not going to complain too much about this one. It was fun. What do you guys think, real quick? Oh, there we go.
Probably my least favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, this was our last one of the night, and it was kind of it felt like we were in and out. Like, it was just
very short.
Yeah, it was very short. Again, it's like, this is a character I kind of like no matter what. But stuff like that scene, which I was like, okay, so is this we're really making sure we're doing this because this is a COVID safe scene that we're just watching.
Yeah.
But we're not actually experiencing it in the way that I like to experience Halloween Horror Nights, where the attention is on me in a sense, where it's like they're trying to scare me. This is more like I'm just kind of watching the scene play out, Yeah,
there's nothing scary at all about watching a staircase and Dr. Loomis looking. Yeah,
it was my least favorite.
I agree. I enjoyed it just because I loved the movie.
I loved Halloween 2015. That was my favorite Halloween maze. This was the least favorite.
Which movies did that? That was the one that also had a little bitty Easter eggs, Halloween 3 in it.
The Halloween 2015 maze also had the mirror scene, but it was done more effectively than this one.
Oh, that's right.
Was that by like in that center where the bar was, and it was like the outside of the house, and you saw his like shadow, where Bride of Frankenstein was.
You didn't know which area he was in because the mirror played so well, and it was so effective.
I did like that one. End of this though, with the all the mirrors. I don't remember that in the movie, but that was kind of cool. You didn't know if it was a reflection or if it was real.
But it was more effective in 2015 than it was in this one.
But it was fine. All right, let's move on. Let me see. We've covered Halloween 4, Haunting of Hill House, Texas Chainsaw, The Exorcist. There's real quick. Which one are you showing us, Luke?
Bride? Well, still showing part of Halloween 4 at the end as we're closing out.
Oh, I love the recreations. I always love the recreation. I like Halloween 4. All right, Bride of Frankenstein lives.
The pumpkin beer just kicked in, the 9%.
Oh yeah, this is some of the best pumpkin beer that I have had to date.
Thank you, Frogtown Brewery, a future sponsor of the Scare Guy Show.
Let's hope so. Jane, I almost called you Jamie. Katie, oh my gosh, this beer is really taking its toll. So, Katie, you said that this is one of your favorites, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This is probably the maze I was looking forward to the most of any of them. Just because I loved Universal Monsters so much. I thought it was a fantastic maze. I loved the production design of it, the fact that you got to enter through this big book and that it was going in chapters. So you kind of felt like a linear story being told. Was that story super understandable when you actually saw them? No. If they hadn't told you this is what's happening, I don't know that I would have fully gotten the message of the story, if that makes sense.
Katie, tell me what the story was, because I guess I missed it.
I can't tell you. I honestly can't tell you.
She was trying to bring her love back to life.
Yes, but I'm saying though they had like chapter 1, so like, okay, this is what's setting up here. I liked that it was very linear in that fact, and it was telling a story even without the actors involved. But there was a lot of actors. You could tell that they were doing COVID safe things, which I was a little worried when I saw footage before we went of like the scare actors wearing masks. I understand why, totally understand the meaning of it, but I was like, it's a little weird. But it worked for Bride of Frankenstein when you are talking about her trying to be a scientist and trying to be
she's got her
that's a way you can utilize a face mask and have it actually still work for the story and not take away.
I agree,
because she was supposed to be like a doctor, they're gonna wear face masks, but visually it was fun. You felt like this isn't a character we've seen a lot, so it's nice to see the Bride of Frankenstein just doing her thing, and costuming wise, production wise, it was fun. They had a couple good scares. It wasn't, but for me, it was more of a story than it was scares.
So. Natalie?
I'm gonna be totally honest. My memory of that maze is non-existent. Like there's very little I remember from it. So and
it's not because we were drinking very much either.
No, we weren't. And it's, I would have expected that of maybe like Hill House after that one crazy drink we had at Margaritaville, but I think this was just, I don't know. I think the only thing I really remember was like just being shocked and in the moment of like, there are so many people, there's so many actors in here. Yep. Why is everybody in this one? And I think that was
we kept
mostly
on
what I was thinking.
There seemed to be a dearth of actors, a lack of actors in some of the mazes. But then this one, Like you go into a room, it's just like
there's a ghost in the background of Katie's video. Something just happened.
What was that?
I just saw a figure walk by.
You're not concerned at all, Katie? Okay. and we do have to zoom on, but Luke, what'd you think?
Well, I just want to ask that. I mean, I'm going to say what I think, but Natalie, how many Franktinis did you have to drink to go through this one?
How many Franktinis?
Yeah.
Probably 3. There's still, it's again the experience of being there and just kind of being in that mindset is still fun. It's always going to be, that's an easy bar to be pleased for me there. So, even the most unenjoyable, one which was Hill House for me. I wasn't mad or anything or pissed. It was just like, I was just expecting a little bit different.
All right.
Yeah. Like for me, like this was, I would say, like more fun than scary. Like it was just kind of like, more like a Munsters feel going through. I'm like, and then like there was this moment where like, Frankenstein was like lunging out at me, but it was like I was like looking at a puppy or something. Like, this is so cool. Frankenstein's looking at me right now, lunging out, and I like wasn't scared. And like one of our friends, I can't remember who was talking about it, was saying like, he was wanting you to be scared, but
that was me.
Yeah, I was just like, this is cool. Like I was like looking at like a shark or something.
That's right. It was like the big Frankenstein at the end, and he like really like was gearing up to get Luke, and Luke just stopped and just stared at him.
I just stared
and
at him.
He was just like looking at him, like it was just like you were the one in the group that I picked, and your reaction was nothing. And it just, you could just see the disappointment underneath the mask as he just was like, you've got to be kidding. Like, I did all this work for you, and you didn't even, you weren't scared at all.
And the one other thing I have to say about it is like how much like the Bride of Frankenstein like looks similar from scene to scene. Like it almost looked like septuplets were like in this house because like they almost all looked identical going from scene to scene. So I don't know if this was prosthetics or how they did it, Katie, but they also
the magic of movie making.
He's like omnipresent somehow.
All right, I do have to push this along, guys. I am so sorry, but we're probably not going to talk about The Walking Dead.
Can we skip The Purge? Can we skip? We don't need.
Wait. The Walking Dead is there. It's considered one of the haunted houses.
I did not even go through that.
I know it's been there. I love The Walking Dead. I like everything. But Natalie, what was your favorite house of the night?
Pandora's Box.
Yeah, me too.
It's if your expectations are low, it's just you'll be so happy. That's what I've learned through all of COVID. It's just have the lowest expectations of everything. And then anything good that happens, you're just really pleasantly surprised. But they had that experience with the guy that was like, he looked like a tree or whatever that was like all in brown with these orange speckles, and he just like blended into the wall that was also brown with the neon orange speckles. And that scared the shit out of me when he came charging at me because I was just not prepared.
He comes out at Natalie and she was like not having it. Katie, what'd you think of Pandora's Box?
I liked my first experience with Pandora's Box better in 2019.
It's a repeat, yep.
Because we got to, when I went through the first time, we got to go and see the box open, and it just kind of set the entire tone for it. But this was still great. This was still on my high list because it's an original thing. So you have to appreciate the fact that they're doing more of these original mazes. You know, IPs are great, but people want to see stuff that they don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Anytime you show Medusa, whether she is a real actor or animatronic, Katie is going to like it. I love Medusa. I have this fascination with Greek mythology. I have this fascination with stuff. So it's hard not to please me with the concept of Pandora's Box. And you know, Pandora's Box opens and all hell breaks loose. How can you not like that at a horror?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
So I think the first one was better, but I still very much enjoyed this one.
Cheeseman, real quick, and then I'm gonna let you take us through the backlot tour, and so then we're gonna finish here.
Pandora's Box, like, was probably my favorite because it like felt like more like a traditional haunted house. Good use of black light, good use of like more different kind of scares, like Natalie was saying, the guy blending in the background, that felt like something that would more happen at like Not Scary Farms, or not necessarily the Universal with the strobe lights and jumping out kind of thing. Not to hate on Universal, you're doing a great job. Love the
Universal
saying, like
awesome
the way
job.
they did this one felt a little more like they were a little more experimental on it. It felt a lot like a traditional, like I said, like traditional haunted house with the black lights and with the way they were kind of doing things. Double scares are always my favorite thing, which they did on this one, where it was like they diverted your attention, had one guy jumping at you, and then another angle, somebody else with the Pandora's box thing. And I was like, wow, I love when they do that. And right from the beginning, they kind of almost set the story with like, you're in this like basic looking kind of thing and you're entering into the Pandora's box, which kind of created, as a storyteller, kind of a storyline, like you're in this Twilight Zone-y / horrific kind of atmosphere, where it felt like this one created such a simple story that you could just logically at the beginning know you're going into like chaos. And this whole thing, like, it just felt like it had a lot more freedom to explore and to gotta do the kind of things where it's just like, oh, this is fun. And if I got to do one of these mazes over and over again, it would have been this one.
Yeah. That also creates space between parties that are going through, so that you're not seeing the people right in front of you get scared, especially when you don't have the obstacles, the visual obstacles that they would normally place in front of you. So that helped a lot with that ride, where it felt like, or that maze, that it was like we were the only ones going through it at that time. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think we've gone through all that. And is there any, before we're going to end on the back lot, because that was the big thing that returned this year. It was not there in 2019. They got rid of it then, but they came. Oh, wait. It's I call that the Scooby Gang that went on Thursday night. They're next to the Scooby Mystery Machine van, which is very cool. And Katie, you went, when was it you went?
The first Sunday that it was open, so it would have been last Sunday.
Okay, you went the first Sunday.
Not yesterday, but the first Sunday of the event, last Sunday.
And we went Thursday, and just so you guys know, a week from Sunday, we're doing the bravest thing ever. We're going to Florida, and we are going to Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights on the 26th with a big group, and we will.
I am waiting to hear about this Beetlejuice Maze, because I am so upset it was not here in Hollywood.
I know.
So I'm super jealous. So yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that, and I've seen the facade they built for Hill House there. It takes up the whole inside of a soundstage. It's massive. And I know. I was like, why couldn't it be out here? But anyways, so I'm really looking forward to that. But Cheeseman, why don't you kind of take us through the return of the Terror Tram tour on the back lot?
So yeah, we basically started out on the tram. They played videos, and I don't know if they ran an audio clip of the driver, which it sounded like they did. So that, because every time we got on, it sounded like the same, like Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau.
Oh, what is he saying? That's so scary. Oh, what? Okay. Like it was just like random. It sounded like they hired him to do it, but they created the kind of the Purge kind of scare atmosphere, and then of course, as always, the ride stops, and then you get off, and then you start to experience some of the kind of characters or the anarchy going on, and then kind of wander your way into the Bates Motel area, which was fun as always. But like, I always enjoy, because you get to go like on the actual lot, and you get to kind of like, there's some like movement to it, you know, like it's a unique way of doing it. Although have they done the Purge multiple times?
Very often have they.
Like, I don't know anything else they've done
like,
back
I thought it was gonna be Chucky for some reason, but
they
haven't been paying attention.
They did Chucky a few years ago, but the Purge has been at HHN in some way, shape, or form many times.
And what's this?
And as always, every year, like you can get a picture with a Norman Bates looking actor in front of the Bates Motel house, which the line was pretty short if you kind of do it early on. Yeah. This Norman Bates was very good. Like it looked a lot like Anthony Perkins. There was one before that didn't look as much like him, but then this one like really nailed it. So
wait, Katie, you know who the one before him was? DC Movie News.
I can probably guess because he was there when I was there.
DC
you look good too, Mike. I wasn't trying to be specific, but this guy, oh my gosh, looks just like Norman Bates.
All right, keep going. Oops.
Oh, all of a
Keep
sudden
going, Chase.
All right. So yeah, they built the atmosphere. You're going through the War of the Worlds kind of like atmosphere where they build this up. But they did the set work looked really good. Okay, who's clicking? Who's clicking?
I'm trying to hurry us along. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Jim's got laundry to get.
I know. I've got 12 minutes to work.
It's been down there for
Jim's got laundry to pull.
All right, what's this?
It's more Purge.
No, we're looking at some of the backlot of the Purge, like they have destroyed the backlot.
The War of the World set, yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think this was cool. They have this house that they've taken over. I think it's fantastic. They did such a good job back here.
I personally, my favorite was when they did The Walking Dead in this area because it just it also really fit, you know, I think the world that is already there with War of the Worlds, you know, and you know, it felt creepy being in the woods and walking around the RV out there, you know. This was a good use of it, but
it is. I think they had another Purge movie. They wanted to kind of get. Yeah, so this was the Forever Purge. I'm hoping next year they have purged the Purge from the backlot if they still have it. And like Katie said,
I doubt it.
I'm going to tell you, I had a good time, but I do have to say the fact that I'm just glad it's back. It wasn't their strongest year. The fact that we couldn't go down to the backlot, which is sometimes some of my favorite spots, is we're seeing a video right now that. From some of the characters.
Scare zone. So
yeah, as you're recapping, giving your closing thoughts, these are
I can give my closing thoughts real quick.
Yes.
Yeah. Pros, happy to have a haunt back. Didn't realize how much I missed it. It was really emotional when I got back and was like, oh, I'm finally back here. So did enjoy being able to get that haunt experience. Enjoyed seeing a lot of my friends be in their element and do the thing that they do best. Enjoyed the Harry Potter was open so that I could go to Hogsmeade. I could go to Hogsmeade.
It's usually open, is it, Katie?
And I could get an alcoholic butterbeer, which I did. I enjoyed that.
What? They have that there?
Yes. Well, you have to get the butterbeer and then you get a shot on the side and you can add it. Anyway, but
never knew that.
They gave you a wristband so that you didn't get stopped by any of the law enforcement to get your ID. They gave you a wristband so that they could just easily be like, this person has been ID'd. Cons were there was only one scare zone, and I love the scare zones. The scare zones add so much to it, but there was only one, and it was a little lackluster. I understand COVID, etc.
No, there were two. No. There was a couple scare zones. There was the Universal Monster Scare Zone, which we're looking at right here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, two. Sorry, my bad.
Fine.
But they were very much not like they were in years past.
Right.
Usually there's another one on the lower lot or the Terror Tunnel, etc. But there was not. So that was a little sad.
Chainsaws and bright effects.
But that was one of my other cons. And then just for the most part, just you could tell that it's been 18 months and that they missed an event and that they weren't able to put the event that they would normally do. One other pro was that there was not as many black walls in the maze as I remember from years past, which I enjoyed.
I got to tell you, I'm loving this video recap of the night we were there. This is awesome. Natalie, what about you, Natalie? What's your kind of overall assessment?
I mean, I totally agree. I was so happy to be back that it's, again, once I kind of realized, was brought to reality of what to expect and that there would be changes and it wouldn't be the same. I did have an appreciation for just being there and for just enjoying it and starting my Halloween season. Like that to me felt perfect. And I was really happy and I really enjoyed myself. And those front of line passes were a game changer.
Yeah, game changer and very affordable. Like you just do it once and you go through and we got through by before midnight, I think, right?
Yeah, we were done by before midnight. Our passes caught with our. Let me see.
Oh, that's why Christine got scared by the face.
The Texas Chainsaw. Man, that was great.
Yeah. There was our passes cost $149, I think. I think we got them as a discounted passes with our annual passes, I think. So, all right, guys, this has been an awesome show. I have so much enjoyed the fact that, Katie, so much about Halloween Horror Nights over at Universal Studios. That adds so much gravitas to the show. And Natalie, having you on the show is always so great. I'm glad you're on. And And everybody be nice to Natalie and please beg her to come back because we want her to become more part of the Scare Guy show. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching us tonight. My name is Jim. You can find me at James D. Fry on Instagram or just follow us at the scareguy.com. Cheeseman, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Cheese on Couch and also on the scareguy.com and on their Twitter and Instagrams as well.
All right. And Natalie?
You can find me and listen to our podcast at the Martini Scale and make some cocktails and watch some movies and listen to us talk about movies.
Maybe we'll have to have her back on to talk about some of the movies of the season because there's some good ones.
I want a pumpkin martini already. Jeez.
I do.
Ooh, yeah.
Spice martini.
All right, Katie, what about you?
I'm Katie Christine. You can find me across all social media at KT Christine, including on Twitch. Hoping to do some more spooky streams from like Dead by Daylight, Last of Us, do some cosplay streams, get in the mood. I won the costume contest at work for one of the days that we had Spirit Week last week. So, you know, it is what it is. You can also follow me on my 100 Days of Halloween posts on Instagram. I have not been posting every day because some days I don't know what to post, but I am posting spooky things all the way up to Halloween. So follow me there and over at the Con Girls as well. We're going to try to do a little true crime-esque podcast coming up soon. So
coming up soon. And I'm so excited because my local grocery store has about 150 pumpkins out front its door at this time. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've got to run because I've got laundry that I got to get out of the dryer.
We're going to Halloween Horror Nights Orlando.
Guys, we will be at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando next week. But next week, 1 week from tonight, be watching for our Sandy Johnson interview, Judith Myers from the original Halloween. It's an awesome interview. We can't wait for you guys to see it. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching, Jonathan.